MMA Oddsbreaker, ladies and gentlemen, Frank Trigg, Sammy Stout. Actually, was just yelling at Sammy before we started that he was just in Vegas for 2 weeks training, and he didn't call me, didn't write, didn't nothing. Just totally blanked me. Just
I,
like a Canadian
I'm
me is what he
sorry,
did.
man.
He
I'm
Canadian me.
sorry. It will not happen again. It will not happen again. I'm sorry. I
you,
should have,
you came down to
so
train.
many people see so many old friends in Vegas that I had to catch up with. I'm sorry I missed out on you.
Well, the good news is that I'm too big to train with, so you don't have to worry about me punching in the head.
Yeah,
I'm too
yeah,
slow to make it worth your while anyway. Now that I'm old,
yeah,
and I spend more time yelling at guys from outside the chain link than I do from inside. So we could have
yeah.
caught up as you're breathing heavy and getting blood on you and getting blood on your gloves when you're hitting Gunnarsson in the head. So it
That's
could have
right.
worked out great. How was Vegas? And you were with Syndicate, trained with John Gunderson and the rest of the crew. How was it over there?
It was great. I've been doing most of my training here in London, Ontario. I've gotten away a little bit. I went and trained in Boston with Delagrati for one camp, and I've been trying to bounce around a little bit, but I've been kind of you know mostly based out of adrenaline and gym's close to home. So it was nice to kind of get away and just kind of get away from everything back home and get a different look and a different kind of they have a different training schedule, different ways of doing things. So it's kind of nice to kind of switch it up a little bit and get a different look and some different training partners. So I really enjoyed it. And at Syndicate, there was a lot of familiar faces there, a lot of guys I used to train with at Extreme Couture. So I didn't feel like it was coming into a brand new gym. I felt comfortable there right off the bat.
Was it like expense wise? I know right now, Canada's killing us in the dollar ratio, but it's still got to be pretty expensive. The flight from Toronto all the way over to Vegas and then housing. I mean, it's still not
Yeah,
cheap. And let's be honest, everyone thinks fighters are millionaires. You're not. Like
yeah, we're definitely not. We're definitely not. But I lucked out on that on both those things. My sister's working with Air Canada now, so she's a flight attendant. She wanted to come down there and visit old friends as well. So we went out there for 2 weeks. She stayed with some friends, and I stayed with John Gunderson and his wife and his two little girls. So that was great. He's at the gym every day, twice a day. So I just kind of hitched a ride with him, and we've been friends for years. So it was cool. And he made me feel really welcome at his place, and his family kind of took me in. So it was a great time, and I got some great work out there.
you're still a bachelor, right? Like
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when all of a sudden you go from being a bachelor, having your own little pad, to 2 weeks being in a full family situation, how was that sleep wise? Rest and relaxation wise, like how was that?
It was good. While I'm in training, I like to get lots of sleep, and he's got two little girls that are really playing some pretty high level soccer. They're playing on
Right.
highly ranked soccer
Yeah.
teams, so he's got them on a pretty strict regimen training. They're practicing and working with private coaches, and he's got them eating and sleeping on a very strict schedule, which actually worked pretty well for me too. And so I was in bed by 11 o'clock every night and up early in the morning, and able to eat a good healthy breakfast and lots of healthy meals. So yeah, his schedule and his family schedule and my schedule for training actually meshed together pretty well.
Now that you're home, and if I remember correctly, you're not much of a cooker. Like you don't cook much. So now all of a
Um,
sudden you're
you know, that's not true. That's not true. I know what I'm doing. I keep it pretty basic for in terms of training camps. I grew up with my dad's actually a pretty good cook. He taught me
yeah.
a thing or two, so I know my way around the kitchen. But um, yeah, it's when it comes to training camp, I'm eating pretty much chicken breasts and fish, and so I try and change it up and try out some different recipes and stuff like that. But you know,
I was wondering, like, what's it like now that John's wife's not cooking and making meals, and John getting you fed up every day. And all of a sudden now you're back home again. Okay, now I got to do it myself. It's
I
kind
can I
of
can
it's kind
I
of
can handle
cool,
it.
right? Having John be able to kind of handle everything. It's kind of nice to have like that
It definitely
situation, right?
It was nice. It was nice. It's nice to not have to think about those things and have meals prepared for you when you get home from training. So maybe I should cut out the bachelor life eventually and find a girl to do it for me.
Don't don't don't
Don't
do
do
it
it.
just for
No,
that. Like do it
it's not
because
worth.
you
Just
love the
cook
girl.
it up.
Don't do it just because I want somebody to cook food for me. Because
All
trust me on
right.
this. It
Goodbye.
will be
Goodbye.
a debacle. It'll fall apart. It'll make you worse. It'll make you a worse fighter than a better fighter. You look at a lot of fighters. I interviewed Demetrius Johnson, who's also fighting on your card, is the main event, and we're talking about how he's a new baby in the house. A lot of guys, a lot of fighters, myself included, a baby comes in the house. I'm used to the house being on my timing, my schedule. When the baby comes in, it's on the baby schedule. Like, you just got to deal with it. He's very humble. He's very selfless. He's very loving. He's a very big family man. He could care less. To him, when Tyrone's in the house, he's fine with it. When my daughter came in the house and when I was fighting, I had a very difficult time with that, trying to figure it out because it's very hard.
Well,
so don't have a girl come in just because you want her to start cooking for you. You know,
all right,
you can have her stay over on Saturday nights.
For me, so that's not an issue yet.
It's tough though because you're a family guy too. You and your sister are really close. Like you said, you guys just traveled to Vegas together. Is she putting the screws to you every now and again to like start settling down, start slowing down, start looking for that family life, like someone to share something with?
Better than that. My sister knows better than that. She knows she can't. She knows me, and she knows how I like to do things. So she doesn't give me a hard time. And I think that stuff will happen on its on its own volition.
Yeah, we hope it's there's no shotguns involved in any of this stuff.
Right.
Let's talk about Cody McKenzie. He's your opponent on UFC on Fox 9. It's up there in Sacramento, December 14th. Cody's 14-3. You're 19-9. Very close record-wise. Very close competitive competition-wise. You guys have faced the same level of competition throughout your careers. Where do you think Cody is the most dangerous in this fight?
There's a lot of things that are dangerous about him, actually. Obviously him on the ground is the thing I'm worried about most. He's got the guillotine. He goes for it from a lot of different places. He's really tough to get off your back. He's got a really good body triangle. He's very relentless and he's very unorthodox. So he's hard to train for. He's hard to find guys to mimic his style because it's so wild. It's really scrambly. He's really long. He's got a lot of mobility and flexibility and these super long limbs. So I think that's his biggest threat is those aspects of his ground game. But he's also dangerous. You watch him and when I first took this fight, I was like, okay, I'm just going to be able to eat this guy up on my feet. But looking at the tape, he's just really not very pretty to watch standing, but he lands punches and he's really unorthodox again. So it makes it very you're used to seeing a punch come at you from one angle, but he's not throwing it from that normal angle. It's loopy punches, really frantic style, but it's not something you're used to seeing. So it can be difficult to deal with. Defensively
speaking, with an unorthodox fighter, is it more about keeping your guard tight when you're on your feet and just trying not to get touched, or is it more about foot motion and kind of circling away from him to keep from getting hit?
Well, that's the thing with a guy like him. It's what you really want to watch out for is him landing a big lucky shot, right? So keeping a tight guard, keeping your hands up, and staying, being defensive and technical, I think is the way to beat him, and not to get sucked into a slugfest and stay tight. Throw those punches straight down the middle. While if he's throwing a big looping punch and I'm throwing one straight down the middle, mine's going to get there first.
Obviously you've got much more experience on your feet. You're obviously a better knockout guy, but he does throw unorthodox, and those unorthodox guys scare the crap out of me when I'm competing, so it makes me a little nervous. Yep. Obviously most of his wins come via submission. Like he's 14-3, but a lot of his wins are 12 of them to be exact are submission. He's got one KO, one decision, but when he loses. He's only lost 3 times, but the KO to the body to me was the most devastating. I think that happened. Chad Mendes is one that KO'd him to the body,
yep.
And that was back in July of 2012. He just absolutely manhandled him when he hit him to the body and just dropped him. He got into a great brawl with Leonard Garcia and ended up winning that decision his last time out, and that was April of 2013. But if you look at his record, he hasn't been really that active. A couple times in 2012 he fought. A couple times in 2011, and this will be his second time in 2013. He's not a very active fighter. Do you think that he is in the gym all the time training and just working on his game the whole time he's not fighting? Is he one of those guys that takes a lot of time off in between fights?
I've heard different things. You hear things through the grapevine. You can't put too much stock in them, right? Because sometimes you might hear something and it's misinformation or whatever. And so I'm training for the best possible Cody McKenzie. I'm expecting him to come in at 100% and be able to push a pace for three 5-minute rounds. That being said, I've heard some rumors that he likes to drink. He likes to, he doesn't train as hard as he could, and he doesn't, and it doesn't seem like he takes his training and his physical fitness as seriously as some of the other athletes in the sport. So, but like I said, you got to prepare for the best possible Cody McKenzie, and that's what I'm doing. So.
Where do you think that he believes that you're the most dangerous? Is he just looking at your hands and going, okay, I got to get this to the ground as quickly as possible, or do you think that he's looking at it and going, okay, Sam's improved his wrestling, he's improved his ground game, I got to start watching these other things too?
I don't know. I think he'll probably, chances are he's probably looking mostly at my striking game, and that's been kind of the downfall of, my style over the years is I've guys know what to expect, and I've been, like you said, I've been trying to change that up a little bit more and throw some different elements into my game. But for this one, I feel like I'm better than him on my feet, and that's and I chances are I'm going to try and keep it there. I could take him. I could. I feel like I could definitely take him down if I wanted to. But do I want to? Not really. I think why put myself in a position where he's going to be in his element when I also think I can stop him from taking me down for the most part, and keep it in my world. So I'll probably end up doing that for this fight.
Is this going to be a situation where your takedown's like, hey, I'm not sure if I've won the round or not. There's 10 or 15 seconds left. I just heard the clacker go off. Okay, I'll get a takedown in right now to seal the round, and then not give him enough time to set anything up? Or is it one of those situations, never take the risk?
I did that in my last fight, and I ended up in a guillotine with 15 seconds left on the clock. So, and going against another really good guillotine guy, I kind of don't want to make that mistake twice. But I think if I go for the right takedown, maybe not a double with my head on the outside, but maybe if it comes down to an inside trip or something like that, where I can keep my head out of danger and keep my neck, away from him, then sure, I'll take those opportunities as well.
All right, Sammy, one last question before I let you out of here. Let's talk about the main event. Demetrius Johnson, Joseph Benavidez. Who do you think is going to win? Do you think the champ, DJ, is going to keep the belt, or do you think Joe B is going to upset him?
Well, I think Benavidez is, they fought before, and it was a good fight, very, very competitive fight. But Demetrius he looked like he was in better shape to me. He looked like he was ready he was really, what it came down to for me was that he was able to keep a higher intensity throughout that whole 5 rounds. So if he does that again, I think he takes it. But Benavidez is a hardworking guy. He's a friend of mine, and I think he has the potential to. I think he's gonna. He knew what he was up against, and he ended up with an extra 2 weeks to train because they pushed this fight back. So that's gonna improve his conditioning. So I think we can expect to see a great fight, and I'm probably going to guess it's going to go very similar to the last one, a 5-round, 100 miles an hour kind of fight, and it could go either way. I can't. I think it's too close to call.
No, that's why I asked you, because I'm stuck on the fence too. I can't figure it out either. So I was hoping you'd give me some more insight I didn't have.
I really like both guys. Demetrius is a great guy. This is one of those ones. I have a hard time picking fights because I always bet with bet on the guy I know and the guy I'm better friends with. So if I'm going to do that, it's probably Benavidez. But and he's an amazing dynamic guy. But so is Demetrius, and he's a great guy too. So whatever happens in that one. I think I can't really give you an accurate prediction on it.
Sammy, thanks for coming on here with MMA Oddsbreaker. Good luck against Cody McKenzie. Hopefully, I'll be up there live. I'm trying to find a way to get up to Sac. It'll be interesting to see you fight live again. I would love the energy you always bring in to the cage whenever you fight. So I want to try and get there live for this one if I can.
Appreciate it, Frank. Hey, and I'm sorry again for not hitting you up while I was in Vegas.
Well, you make it up next time. Don't worry about it.
Right, for sure.
Thanks, man. I'll talk to you soon.